mũtũrĩre wake gatatha na thutha ũcio. Thutha wa gũtiga cukuru na kũruta mawĩra matiganĩte, aciari ake nĩmonire mũkinyu wa kũhikania na makĩũria mũtumia wake wa mbere Margaret Wambui, ũrĩa warĩ mwarĩ wa Shakiro kana nĩwe Chege, na wa kerĩ Mary Wairimu Mwangi, arĩa ahikirie matiganĩte na ihinda rĩa mĩeri 4 na makĩikaraga nyũmba ĩmwe me hamwe. Ĩyo nĩ history yagĩrĩirwo nĩ kũnotwo. Mwaka-inĩ wa 1957 atumia ake nĩmarigithathire mwana wa kahĩĩ na wa kairĩtu, na nĩo mwendwanĩire Pastor Esther Wanjikũ arĩ mũkũrũ na Bernard Kerie wa kerĩ. Thutha nĩmatanahĩirwo na ciana ingĩ, nĩcio Chege Karoba, James Kerie, Humphrey Mwangi, Ronald Iboro, James Mbogua, Perpetua Njeri, Geoffrey Gasonjo, Priscilla Wanjikũ, Peter Mburu. Mũndũ ũrĩa ataipaga harĩ marĩtwa ararĩire na tũkwenda mũmekĩre nĩgetha ĩkorwo ĩ complete. Stephen Kamau, ũndũ ũcio muonio haha, Priscilla Wanjikũ, Peter Mburu, Joseph Gacuhĩ, Miriam Njoki, Joseph Gaconjo, Ruben Wamburu, Purity Wanjikũ na Peter Kerie. He marĩtwa megũtigĩtwo, koguo nĩ muona mũndũ ũrĩa tũrahurũkia ti mũndũ ũrarĩ oro ũguo. Mũtũrĩre wake thutha wa gũthamĩra Gĩthĩga na bamĩrĩ yake. Mũtigaire Karoba Iroha ararĩ mũhũri biacara na mũrĩmi. Mwaka-inĩ wa 1971 mũtigaire Karoba Iroha nĩathamĩire itũũra rĩa Ihiga Gĩthĩga, kũrĩa agũrire mũgũnda na agĩthiĩ na mbere na kũruta mawĩra matiganĩte ta wa gwatũra mbaũ, Munyaka Sawmill, biacara ya wholesale ĩrĩa yatũraga ĩtagwo Premier General Shop Gĩthĩga, matuka ma hardware Gĩthĩga na Gĩthũngũri, petrol station Gĩthũngũri, kũgũra na gwaka manyũmba Gĩthũngũri na Gĩthĩga, kũrĩma kahũa Gathaithi na macani Ihiga, transport, kũrĩma ngano na gũkũ gwĩtagwo Longonot Ereri, ararĩ na gĩthĩnjĩro na ũgũri wa wendia wa njũa. Mũtigaire Karoba Iroha na mwenda wake mwendwanĩire Mary Wairimu nĩmandĩkithirie na makĩrathimĩrwo kĩhiko kĩao mweri 7 Januari 1984 thutha-inĩ wa PCA Gathaithi. Ũtungati wake wa family. Hamwe na gũtungata mũciĩ wake na ciana ciake, mũtigaire John Karoba Iroha nĩatungatĩte ciana cia ithe ategũthutũkania, akamarera, akamathomithia, na ndĩmũira ũhoro ũcio tondũ ndĩ ũmwe. Ena wendo mũingĩ mũno, ningĩ nĩarendete gũcokanĩrĩria hamwe andũ a nyũmba yao. Kanitha. Mũtigaire John Karoba Iroha ambĩrĩirie gũthoma kanitha-inĩ wa Catholic cukuru ya Mission, agĩcoka agĩthoma kanitha wa Independent Gathaithi kũrĩa abatithĩirio marĩkia gũthamio kũrĩa kwarĩ na Independent School. Thutha ũcio nĩaingĩrire kanitha wa PCA Gathaithi kũrĩa aiyũkĩire gĩathĩ-inĩ kĩa irio Mwathani. Thutha nĩacokire agĩthamĩra PCA Gatitũ thĩinĩ wa Karuthi Parish kũrĩa aratungataga district ya Ihiga o kinya mahinda make ma kũhurũkio nĩ Mwathani. Mũikarĩre wake na andũ. Mũtigaire John Karoba Iroha ararĩ mwendia andũ, mũkeni na mũtana, na nĩ atũrĩte anyitanĩire na andũ a bũrũri mawĩra-inĩ matiganĩte na ũthii wa na mbere. Ndwari na kũhurũka gwake. Kwa ihinda rĩrĩa iraihu mũno, mũtigairĩ Karoba Iroha nĩ arathimĩtwo nĩ Ngai na ũgima mwega wa mwĩrĩ. No kwanjĩrĩria mweri wena mwaka ũyũ nĩ anjĩrĩirie gũthĩnio nĩ ndwari na nĩ arakoretwo akĩrigitwo mathibitarĩ matiganĩte ta Guru Nanak, Medhill na KU Referral Hospital. Kũrĩ aramithi mweri 23/9/21 nĩ eheirwo nĩ ndwari na agĩtwarwo thibitarĩ ya KU Teaching Research and Referral Hospital kũrĩa arahurũkĩirio nĩ Mwathani mũthenya wa Jumamothi mweri 25 mweri wa kenda ti wetandatũ mahinda-inĩ ma thaa 4:30 cia rũcinĩ. Atiga ciana 18, tũguka na tũcũkũrũ tũingĩ na arahurũkire ena ũkũrũ wa mĩaka 91. Kwoguo inyuĩ rĩu mwĩna kĩeha, no nĩ ngamuona rĩngĩ na hĩndĩ ĩyo ngoro cianyu nĩ ikaiyũrwo nĩ gĩkeno, gĩkeno kĩrĩa gĩtarĩ mũndũ ũngĩmũtunya. Amen.
Wow, what a history. What a history. All right. Wacha tuisikie kwa Kiingereza kwa dakika chache. I hope we'll move a bit faster. Thank you baba witũ nĩ watuthomera wega na gĩkũyũ kĩega biũ gatarĩ gũtondoirwo na kaũndũ gacokerwo. Thank you. Let's move on, Elder Kamau.
Thank you, Mchungaji. And I'll take you through the celebration of the life of ex-councillor John Karoba Iroha by way of reading through his eulogy. But the late ex-councillor John Karoba Iroha was born as the only child to the late Duncan Iroha Kinyajui and the late Rahab Wajiko Iroha in 1930. He was born at Gatatha, then known as Yara or Wakamo, and the present day Gatatha Estate. He was the stepson of the late Waruguru Iroha and Gladys Wajiko Iroha. His step-siblings are Duati Iroha, Jogoro Iroha, Kinyajui Iroha of the Degwa, Gasojo Iroha of USA, the late Josephat Kinyajui Iroha, Gasojo Iroha of the Farmer's Choice, Waruguru Iroha, and Waithira. His early life. The late John Karoba Iroha grew up on Gatatha Farm, where his parents worked. In 1938, he briefly lived in Githunguri with Duati Kahiti, herding goats which his father had paid as dowry for his stepmother, Waruguru Duati. He was later sent to Ihiga, where he herded goats which his grandfather, Kinyajui wa Maregereri, had paid as dowry to Chege wa Kahiti for his grandmother's marriage, Waturi wa Chege. This was in accordance with the Kikuyu tradition, where goats paid as dowry required to be herded by a young man from the bridegroom's homestead. In 1939, his family was relocated to Kereita after the white settlers took over the land belonging to the Africans. After in 1940, his uncle, the late Francis Waroe, enrolled him at Matavia Primary School, where he studied up to standard 3. Thereafter, he and his mother rejoined his father at Gatatha Farm, and he was then enrolled at Kanuka Primary School, where he sat for his common entrance examination. He qualified and joined standard 5, which was then referred to as the intermediate, at Yara Mission School. He was later transferred to Gathaivi Independent School, which was later closed down with all other independent schools during the state of emergency in 1952. Work. With the closure of the independent schools, the late John Karoba was hired by the white settler, Kamo, who owned Gataba Estate. He was hired to teach children as well as adults and would later become a postboy who delivered and collected letters from Kiabu Post Office on a bicycle. During this time, he would buy merchandise which he sold at the farm, marking the beginning of his business career. He was given a small house by the farm owner, which he turned into a shop. The white man loaned him some money, with which he bought 3 sewing machines and started a tailoring business. Once Kamo left the country, the subsequent farm managers asked him to vacate the place, and he then went on to set up his tailoring business in Githiga. His business flourished as he was hired by local schools to make school uniforms. He then bought a farm at Gathaivi and planted coffee while living with his family in Githiga B village. He participated greatly in public, social, and development affairs, serving in various positions as follows: being elected to represent Githiga coffee farmers at Getito Coffee Mill and the Getito Farmers Cooperative Society by Githiga Coffee Farmers. Was a committee member at Githiga Primary School for 20 years, a member of the Board of Governors at Githiga High School for 20 years, a committee member at Gathaivi Primary School for 9 years, a member of the Board of Governors of Gateway Girls Technical School for 6 years, a member of the Board of Governors, Mokoyo Secondary School for 3 years, a committee member at Githogori Township Primary School for 12 years, and the chairman Board of Governors, Gikaga Kagesha Secondary School for 2 years. As well, he was the chairman of Githiga Sub-District Hospital, where he organized the visits of the then Health Minister Gegi Muigai and Permanent Secretary Alfred Karuga Koinage. In 1980, he was nominated to the position of Councillor in Kiambu County Council to represent the interests of farmers and the business community for 5 years. He co-founded Jokeri Rad Buying Company, where he served as chairman, and they managed to purchase rad at Rogonaut Energy Company Limited and some houses in Nairobi during his tenure as chairman. He also served as the board vice chair at Gatava Farmers Company Limited, amongst other companies. He was elected a Kano representative in Githogori Division during the Kano era. Marriage and family. After he left school, he got married to his first wife, Margaret Waboi, daughter of Shakiro, also known as Shege, and his second wife, Mary Waidi Mumwangi, 4 months apart, and they lived together in one household. He was blessed with 14 children, namely the late Pastor Esther Wajikuashira, Bernard Kiarie, Shege Karova, James Kiarie, Humphrey Mwagi, Ronald Ibro, James Bogwa, Perpetua Njeri, Godfrey Gashojo, Priscilla Wanjiko, Peter Mboro, Stephen Kamau, Joseph Gashohe, Miriam Joki, Joseph Gashonjo, Purity Wanjiko, Reuben Wamboro, and Waliera, and Peter Kiarie. He was a family man who loved and raised his children and ensured that they were all educated. He also loved and appreciated bringing his family members together at any opportunity he got. His life in Githiga. The late Karoba Iroha was a businessman and a farmer. In 1971, he moved to Githiga, where he bought a piece of land at Tihiga. Here he continued to run various businesses like a sawmill and a Munyaka sawmill, a wholesale business and a premier general shop at Githiga, hardware shops in both Githiga and Githogori, a petrol station in Githogori, building rental apartments in both Githega and Githunguri, coffee farming in Gathaivi, tea farming in Ihiga, Githega, transport business, wheat farming in Rongonot, and a slaughterhouse in Githega. On the 7th of January 1984, he renewed his marriage vows to his late wife, Mary Wairimu, at PCEA, Gathaivi. Church. The late John Karoba attended a Catholic church while at Riara Mission School. Then he joined the AIPCA church in Gathaivi, where he was baptized after moving to Gathaivi Independent School. He would later on join PCEA Gathaivi, where he was confirmed and accepted to the fellowship of the Holy Communion. Then he moved to PCEA Gatito within Karubi Parish, where he remained a member until his demise. His interaction with people. The late Karoba Iroha was a loving and passionate person who enjoyed his interactions with various people he met throughout his life and business. Health. He enjoyed good health for most of his life until April 2021, when he fell ill and has been receiving treatment at various hospitals like the Guru Nanak Medhill Hospital and eventually Kenyatta University Referral Hospital, where he was admitted on the 23rd of September 2021 and went to be with the Lord on the 25th of September 2021. And you now therefore have sorrow, but I will see you again, and your heart shall rejoice, and your joy no man taketh from you. Quoted from John chapter 16, verse 22. Amen.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Elder Kamau. What a history. Wengine hawajui historia ya vita vilivyopiganwa na vile watu walivyong'ang'ana wakianza biashara. Nĩ moigua mũthuri ũyũ meciria marĩa ahetwo nĩ meciria manene mũno, agĩgeciria kwambĩrĩria kuonjorithia mĩaka-inĩ ĩyo, na agĩgeciria gũthiĩ kuoya rũri mbere kwa mũthũngũ. Halo, Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Inyuĩ mwĩna meciria, ũronjorithia meciria maku atĩa? See how we use whatever God has given us to bring glory to God. Na kile ambacho tuko nacho kitutafutie mahali mbinguni. Kuna kitu ambacho ningependa kuona kwa hiyo historia hakiko. Wakati aliendelea kupigana na vita vya mwili, sababu hapa ni mwili. Yeye ameondoka. Nyumba yake ya kufanya hizo kazi zote alizozifanya. Alivyojiandaa katika safari yake ya maisha ya milele. Urie haragiria ni undu wa tene na tene. Amene murariganirwo nĩ kuuga atĩrĩ, nginya atungatĩri na athuri a kanitha nĩ marokaga makahoya nake. Nĩ tuokire rĩmwe gwĩ kũũru mũno, tũkĩhoya nake, tũkĩmũhe gĩathĩ. Na rĩrĩ rĩa thutha no tũrokire, tũrahoya nake, tukamwandaa tukiwa na family. There are beautiful things about his take off. Ya mũthuri ũyũ Ngai andeithirie twĩna athuri a kanitha gũtũma kuhanĩrĩria na Mwathani rĩ. Ndamũhe kahinda ga kũruta wĩira kanitha-inĩ rĩ, ithe wake nĩ ũkũririkana rĩ. Oya microphone ageithania augire atĩrĩrĩ, ndahunyũkĩte ngiuma. We nĩ kĩmũgambo kĩa mũndũ thuri ũyũ. Haro? Aya, taina hanini tũririkane. Ndahunyũkĩte ngiuma kwa ing'a. Ndahunyũkĩte ngiuma kwa waing'a. Jesu akĩnjoya gĩthambia wega, kĩhumba nguo ya ũhonokio. Kwa waing'a ndigaco. Korwo ndĩrarĩho rũgano rũkĩandĩkwo, nĩingĩandĩkire aha ta testimony yake rĩrĩa amũkĩrire Mwathani Jesu atuĩke Mwathani na mũhonokia wa ngoro yake. Kwa hivyo kulikuwa na maandalizi mengi. Nikuhe family again. Sometimes I'm very patient with the family I may be impatient with other things, but with the family, I'm very, very patient. I'll give again the family to give their tribute but I'll request you to go a bit fast because there are many, about 10 of them. So I'll also ask the congregation to be patient. Nitauliza familia watupeleke kipindi hicho na watupeleke kwa haraka. Tafadhali family. Tukimaliza hapo tutachukua sadaka, sababu tulisema tuko kanisani na sadaka sio sadaka mpaka uitenge. Kiria ugutigithukania na indo icio ingi Ngai akuhete, kiu nikio gitagwo sadaka. Sadaka ni mwaliko, sadaka ni sauti. Nakumbuka Cornelius aliambiwa na malaika, sadaka zako na maombi zako yamefika mbele za Mungu, amekujibu. Kwa hivyo tutasindikiza maombi kwa sadaka, na nitaomba wazee waandae hivyo, Elder Haron waandae hivyo. Tukimaliza tribute tutachukua sadaka, tusome neno, tuhubiri, tumalize kazi ya huyu mzee. Tafadhali family, take this opportunity to give your tribute now very fast. Kama udeithia hau mabage uri urona moke tuthie ihenya.
We shall be having the first tribute presentation from George Vaiakialie. George Fire. George Fire will be followed by John Kinyajui Shege. Yes, please proceed. Kinyajui will be followed by Ruth Wambui Kialie. Ruth will be followed by Anthony Bogwa Chege. Bogwa will be followed by Dr. Diana Wairimumboro. I request that once you have read yours, you remain standing over there, such that by the time Diana comes to read her tribute, all the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren shall be assembled where the tribute will be read. Welcome.
Moderator and elders and fellow mourners, good afternoon. Bwana asifiwe. Now, I was caught off guard, but then again, we have so many cousins. We had so many grandchildren. Na about 30 or 40. Now, I would say I'm just one among equals, but I had written my tribute, but I also don't want to read it, so I don't bore you. We've been told there are about 10 of them. However, I'll just give I'll be very quick. I'll give 4 of my experiences that shaped my adulthood with Buka. And very shorter than a minute or two. And one is something that happened. It's a story of about 20-something years. And it happened one Saturday afternoon when I was in primary school. And I was riding my bicycle and I almost had an accident with Buka. And this we agreed, he should not tell my father. But I'll tell him today, there is nothing he can do. It's 20-something years ago. And he stopped and he called me and told me, I'll take you home. And this is between you and me. I will not tell somebody, not even your father. But next time I hear of such a thing, I'll have the bike taken away from you. Now, that December we still came here for Christmas, and there was a tree, and we couldn't. Our cousin Ian wanted both us, and I mean, we all know he couldn't pronounce Bodha. He would call them Doda, and he wanted some of them. So, because I couldn't climb the tree, we decided to lift him and have him stay there and eat as much as he can. We're going to pick him. Now, about minutes later, Wuka came out and took a seat and stayed there. So none of us could go and pick Ian. He got tired and started crying. And Wuka got to know it's me. I mean, even that one, he still forgave me. I mean, I think our cousins who came after me or around the same time with me, when Wuka was old, we didn't grow to fear him. I mean, those of us, those who came before us really feared him. And that taught me integrity in friendship. I mean, he promised not to punish me or even tell my father. And sure enough, I didn't do that again. I mean, I became a good brother, elder brother of my cousin. Second is education. And the grand old man loved education. I mean, throughout primary school, we would have prize-giving ceremonies. And he always came, I mean, probably even 3 times a year, to gift the best student in every class and the best teacher. And this happened throughout primary school. I mean, I have lost count of the number of graduation ceremonies held here. And he would never hesitate to even talk about it. I remember when our cousin Puff, I mean, all these people have nicknames, so they know who I'm talking about. When our cousin Puff became a director of revenue in Kiambu County, our grandfather could not hide his happiness. I mean, and he would talk about it. I'm just having 1 more minute. Just be a bit patient. I'll probably never have another time like this. I mean, and he would always. I mean, he comes from a very different generation. And when he saw, I mean, his happiness when he saw Puff being picked up by a GK, and he would tell everybody who cared to listen. He even told him, I mean, when he would come from work, he would just pass by, and he parks the GK in his workplace, and that gave him so much joy. And this, for somebody who never got past, he will always say he's a CAPE failure. I don't know what that means, but for somebody who never went past that intermediate school level, I mean, he really placed a high premium on education. The other one is the last one. The grand old man loved a good feast. I mean, the number of mbuzis we've had in this place since we were young, I mean, I've lost count. And even then, I remember one about 5 years ago when after Christmas, I mean, this is 26th, our cousin Kamajo called us for some barbecue here. And we were all excited, and we messed up in a way, and he went to take nyama to Uka, and yakudete tumait on haruaraka. So, and our grandfather was, I mean, he knew. I mean, of course, I mean, he was so excited. Kamajo was more than enthusiastic to give everybody nyama, but he kept it to himself. He allowed us to, of course, this is the folly of our youth. He allowed us to be us, and he loved all of us. Rest in peace, Kuka.
Our religious leaders present, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. My name is Kenyanjui Chege, and I'm going to read my tribute to my late grandfather, John Karoba Iroha. I'll begin. Grandfathers hold an honored place in the family, and like all other family losses, it can be difficult to find the right words during this loss. I've thus summarized my memories of the man you're putting to rest today, the 30th September, in a series of events that I hold very dear to date. As a child, being raised in this homestead, my fellow cousins, was one of my fondest early memories. Simply put, we were a big and happy family. My parents do, albeit jokingly, remind me of the shock that befell when we moved to our home in Githega and there was neither electricity nor running water. I would throw tantrums demanding to be taken back to my grandfather's home where there was electricity and running water. I began my education at Githongori Model, which is now a sub-county office. My auntie Wariera and I used to be dropped every morning by my late grandfather in either a green Datsun KUR 601, I believe you all remember it, or a green Peugeot KYC. I can't recall the other numbers. I mean, to think of it, I don't know if there is any of my cousins who got to experience this. To Auntie Wariera, thank you for allowing your very young and chubby nephew hang out with you in class at Githongori Township and cramp your style in the process as I waited for the rest of the kids in nursery school to arrive. Fast forward to when I sat for my KCP examinations and I performed relatively well. My grandfather gave me 14,000 shillings to get myself a mountain bike. This was in 2001. This is one memory I can't forget because I tend to think he was more delighted because his namesake had made him proud. I, on the other hand, felt that I had not really performed to my expectations. In 2018, I joined the county government of Kiambu, and given the nature of my job, I was fortunate enough to have been assigned a county vehicle with a driver. Every opportunity my grandfather got to address a gathering, he found a way to fix me in those conversations. He may not have been 100% accurate, but there was no way I was not going to bask in the glory by correcting him. If my Guka says, then Madafu was going to be in charge of. I believe he was more excited for me than I actually was. I mention this because in retrospect, my grandfather valued education and the leadership opportunities that came with it. I know for certain that you never lose the people you love, even in death. They continue to participate in every act, thought, and decision you make. Their love leaves an indelible imprint in our memories. To you, Guka, you remain in our hearts forever, since there will be no other person who can replace you in our hearts and the souls and the great love we have for you. In conclusion, like any other family, there are many challenges that arise whenever the patriarch of the family departs, and ours is no exception. My prayer would be in honor of your father, my grandfather, that any matters shall be solved amicably. Rest in peace, Guka. Thank you.
To the pastors, to the family, good afternoon, and all protocols observed. So I'll quickly read my short tribute to Guka. So when I was a child at Githongori Township Primary School, I loved how other children revered my grandfather. They spoke of his vast empire, and I enjoyed every bit of it. It didn't help that his lorry KYS would sometimes pick us from school. The deputy head teacher, Mr. Kameri, would ride with us to come buy wood from the sawmill for the school furniture. As I grew older, my relationship with my granddad was a reflection of the relationship he had with his son, who's my father, Shege Karofa. If they were good and happy, if they were in a good and happy place, then we all were flourishing. One of my granddad's main strengths was his charm. He would loop you in and treat you as the only person in the room. You would wish if only this moment would last forever. He was also quite charismatic. This explains how he became a conjurer. He had a gift of gab, of which some of his family inherited, but he disliked Dogogio, as he believed it was the fastest route to poverty. He loved education and is evident in the many graduations he attended, either in school or at the parties that were held at this same venue. He always had a word to the graduate that they were not to see it as an opportunity to brag, but should serve the community with humility. Guka, you did your best to raise a large family. You are proud of your children and never shied away to brag how your offspring